So this is a running prep video. This is like prep. So it's the basic things that you should be able to complete, minimum strength tests that you can do for yourself before you start running, or to help adjust your running gait or alignment. So because running is a single leg weight transferring exercise, and there's that movement through the ankle joint and all the things, you want to make sure that your foot, your ankle are strong enough and that they are also communicating well with your hip. So there are a couple of ways that you can go about this. I'm going to go through a couple of different options. So first and foremost, heel raises. Super simple, we do them all the time. And as we do them, what I see in most of my clients is that there's a real kind of hip thrust at the top, and we do a lot of shifting forward in space. So to mitigate the amount of shifting that happens, you can use a roller to help you stay kind of in your posterior chain, meaning in the back line, so that way when you come up, you're not coming forward. You're using that roller to help find that alignment, back of the skull, and then using that to help you stay as far back as possible instead of shifting forward. And it is small, but it is mighty. So as soon as I start to shift my weight back, my ankles start to lose their stability, but I feel way more glute. And those glutes are everything we need for keeping the pelvis stable. Another way I really like to do this, and probably is more my favorite, is to do this with the kitchen sink. So I'm lucky enough to have a reformer here, but you can have a counter at about hips width, height, and you're just going to shift your weight back and then use that to help you stay way back in that posterior chain. So that's going to tell you when you're going forward, you get to lean back and stay a little further back. You can also do this on stairs, and so if you're holding onto the banister, and you can let your heel go down and under your stair, and then you've got eccentric heel raises. So eccentric means lengthening. So here's neutral ankle, here's eccentric. Here we go. And our concentric through neutral and up. Here we go with that lengthening, particularly if you can stay back in that posterior chain. And then that little lift, and a little lower. Now this is going to give you the most bang for your buck. If you can do this on a step or a stool and stay back in that posterior chain, this is where you're going to get the best heel experience, because you're training the muscle in length, that's the eccentric, and in the short, that's the concentric. Muscles need to be able to do both. So just doing it on the ground is fine. You can focus more on lengthening that heel down to the floor and then lifting it back up so that you're still working eccentric length. You just don't get as much length if you're doing regular hit the floor, right? It doesn't go down and below, but you can still really think I'm pulling my heels back towards that wall and lengthening them down towards the floor. And I almost feel like some traction in my foot while I pull my heel bone away from the ball of my foot. And that's also working that posterior chain eccentrically, lengthening, just not as long. Okay, so heel raises. So in a perfect world, what the experts say is you should be able to do 30 heel raises on one stinking leg. That's really hard. So start bilaterally, get comfy with that 30, and then 1. And in a perfect world, I shouldn't be hiking too much. And the knee shouldn't be dropping in towards the midline. We're wanting to keep knee over big toe, second toe. So it's a lot of foot strength and it's a lot of hip strength, and you're connecting those two joints together. So starting with both feet, kitchen sink, preference, roller, fine. Work unilaterally after that and give or take 30 each side. And when you work this, you may find, oh heck, that's a lot harder on that one side than the other side. All right. So then you know, whoop, whoop, you got some work to do. I got some work to do. All right, next is standing hip abductions. I like to do these on a yoga brick. And I actually have another video called Hip Differentiation that's on the channel that is a little more complicated than this version. But this can be nice and easy, nice and quick. It's not quite as complicated of a setup. So standing on delightful yoga brick here. And again, I'm just going to use something to hold on to help me keep everything nice and stable. And then floating that other leg and breathing. All the same things, right? All the breath work that we talk about in all of the videos. And then just noticing, where is neutral? Where do I have to work for it? All right, so standing leg is not hyperextended. It is straight or a tiny bit bent, but not locked back. Looking for that length. And then I'm gonna flex that other foot and I'm gonna hip differentiate down, neutral, a little left, neutral, a little down, neutral, a little up, neutral. And I'm gonna go for 3, left, and 2, left, and 1, hold, neutral. I'm gonna press that leg out to the side, little hip abduction for 1, and 2. Now I'm gonna wanna kind of hang out over that hip. I'm gonna fight really hard to keep that right underneath me and then not hike up that side. Ooh, ribs. All right, so we're gonna hip diff. Leg abduction here. 3, and 2, and 1. Hold here. Externally rotate the leg and just abduct it behind. And 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, 7. I'm going to say last time 8. Good. And then rest. All right. So that's kind of my jazzed up version of a standing leg abduction. That is the next part of the requirements for minimum running. Let's do the other side. That felt really hard. All right, so bringing your foot on that brick, then trying to keep knee over big toe, second toe. A wall will help. Flex that foot. We're going to think about really like pressing away through that whole leg and getting long. No hyperextension, so we're not going to lock back in that knee joint. And then we're going to hip diff down, neutral, little hike, neutral, little down, little neutral, little up, neutral, little drop, neutral, little lift, neutral, little drop, neutral, hold here, inhale, exhale, find the wrap, all the things, big breath in, big breath out. We're gonna abduct that leg and back. Trying not to do that. Hi, babe. Little press. little press,
You forgot that.
little press. I know, but I'm making a video. Little press. Good. Little press. Let's do 2 more. Watch that hip. Little press. All right, we're gonna abduct that leg in external rotation and press it behind us and press behind. And just notice what's happening with that standing leg. Can you keep big toe joint down, wrapping it back, or do you start to lose that pelvis? And I pointed out because I was losing that pelvis. All right. So a little press, a little press, a little press, and then bring it in, rotate it back, find all the things. Good, and rest. So working with the full length of the hip, and then the stabilization as we go. Next, last but not least, is a single leg squat. So a lot of the ways that this is trained is by training down to a seat. So you would have, in a perfect world, one leg extended, not doing what I'm doing, reach your leg back, find your butt, and bring it right back up and down and up. Now as I do this, you can see I've got some knee dropping in as I go down and a little hip hike. So to modify so that we're not doing the thing that we shouldn't be doing to try to achieve the thing that we haven't quite achieved yet, you are again going to use something to hold on to, and I'm going to just use my reformer at this point. So something to hold on to. Again, a kitchen sink could work. It's going to reduce your range of motion. A TRX system will work. A heavy TheraBand could work, and I'll demo that next. But I'm going to reach one leg, get nice and tall, take an inhale, exhale. I'm sitting back towards a seat that's not there, and I'm going to press back up. And again, reaching and back up. Now the things that you want to shoot or look out for is that as you start to go down, if you drop out into that hip, we want to keep that under. So you're only going to move the range of motion that you keep the alignment. Once that starts to happen, done. So you keep as much neutral as possible, and if it helps to keep that heel down to help keep pelvis stable, then do that. And reach it down and back up. And as you can see, I can get more range of motion with that heel down and back up. So then you start with the heel down, then you lift the heel, you start to take away the props that are helping you to maintain alignment as you get stronger and you're able to maintain that alignment on your own. All right, so then the other option is if you have a giant band, one of these really big TheraBands that they use to help in assists for like pull-ups, is to put that around like a door, through a door jamb, or if you have a hook, and give yourself some support. And I like it right behind the bra line, so that helps you to maintain that back of the ribs, sacrum, skull, so that we're not doing this, we're keeping that. And again, finding where you need to work and back up. So this is a little harder than that stable surface, and up. And I'm attempting to keep my knee over my ankle. It's okay if it goes over a little bit, and then watching that leg. So I'm gonna unweight it and just see what happens. Woo! Good. And then let that go. Good, Claire. So those are some variations for the single leg squat or sit. So just to go over it again. Running prep, in a perfect world, 30 heel raises on each foot. I like to progress. So start bilaterally. and then work unilaterally. So 2 feet and then 1. And then hip differentiation, working through that movement of the hip around the femoral head. So it's then finding that stability, and then abduction. And then your single leg squat. Different grades of difficulty in working where you need to maintain the alignment. The pelvic alignment is everything. Range of motion comes after that. As always, leave questions, comments, thoughts, feelings. I'll respond as I can.